Are we ready?
No. The answer to that question
Should we do some tongue twisters?
is no. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Hi.
Hi.
What? Are we doing this? Let's do
What's
this.
happening this week? What's going on?
I don't know. Work?
Yeah.
We have no heat.
It's March. What day is today? It's March 8th.
March 8th.
This episode comes out on
March.
the 13th. We're a day late with our usual recording schedule.
Yeah, we are.
So I'm going to have to get this edited in 2 days to get it to our patrons on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. It's okay. It's fine. I can do it.
Fine.
Who needs sleep? Good times.
Good times. My toes are cold again.
It finally snowed,
It did snow.
which is good.
March. We need the moisture.
We
so-
do. It's been a very, very dry winter, so we needed it. But also, our heat is currently out. So that's great.
Of course, when it actually gets cold again,
Yeah.
the heat goes.
Yeah. We had a leak was discovered in our gas line that goes from our meter to our house. And so all the gas to our house has been turned off, so we don't have hot water or heat.
So that's fun.
Yeah. Thankfully, though, like our oven is all electric and we have little electric fireplaces. So we're good.
Yeah.
We're good. On the plus side of that, though, we got our gas bill and it is so cheap.
So cheap. Yeah, it's amazing.
cheap.
How
So-
low your bills are if you don't use the utility.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I mean, that's good.
Oh, no, it was the electric bill that was cheap. We haven't gotten the gas bill
Oh,
yet.
yeah, no. The gas bill
I'm
will
sure the
probably
gas
be
bill is going to be
lower,
cheaper,
'cause it's
although
been
it
turned
was,
off for...
well, it was leaking, though, so I
Oh.
don't know. It might not be any cheaper.
True.
But
it
the
might be
electric
cheaper
bill was.
moving forward, however,
Yeah.
though, since we're not leaking gas into the ground or the air or wherever it was going.
Oh,
I don't
man. Yeah.
know. Good
Yikes.
times.
Yep.
Oh, there's a kitten. Little Shen.
Hi, sweetie. What are you talking about today?
I am going to talk about
Well.
a thing. I'm going to talk about a subject that was on our list of subjects.
Okay. Me too. Crazy.
Whoa.
What?
That's really cool.
We so
that we're
rarely
gonna
talk
do
about
that.
the same thing.
So go.
What?
Go.
No,
Do-
I have to
do
roll
you
for
think-
it.
That's mine.
I know.
No, give me mine. No, you can't take my die. It's my very special green die.
Okay. Is there
Do we
anything
have
else we
anything
wanted
else? I mean, we do wanted to say if you're listening to this, thank you very, very much.
Thank you so
and
much.
Please
Yes.
tell your friends and share our podcast and have them
Yeah.
tell their friends, because we would really like to get more downloads and more reviews.
Yeah.
so
We're gonna be annoying about it for a little bit because
Yeah.
because our views are actually, or our listens are actually going down, which is like, I keep telling myself that's normal. There's going to be fluctuations.
Yeah.
In
And
our
they
audience.
they go down and then they tick up a little bit, and it's just I think it's just people catching up. Like if you
Yeah.
get behind or whatever.
Yeah.
But
See, like logically, I know that
yeah.
like we still
It
have
just- it's just
listeners. They're just
sad.
behind.
We're like, please keep going up. But also, like, we would like to get to a point where we have the traffic that we can monetize so that we
Yeah.
can work our other jobs less and focus more on this and make this better.
Yeah, and also like we had our tea time today, which is a Patreon perk, and
Patreon.com/Jess and Hids.
yeah, and we were kind of talking about things that we also wish we could do with our Patreon community, and we just do not have the time or the mental capacity at the moment to do them. But that's like the ultimate dream. So we're just hoping that we can start monetizing the podcast, but also like I also have to tell myself that it might never happen. We're not going to stop doing the podcast if we don't make money from it.
Yeah, because we
really
enjoy
like
it. I mean, it's a thing we'd like to do.
Yeah.
So it's there, but we would like to, I would love to have more time to actually like deeper dive into the different research. Like, because some
Yeah.
of the stuff I find, like the slang episode there was so much that I kind of like mentally shut down at some point because
There was a lot.
like I got to a point where had so much information, it was hard to bring it down to concise, and I just had to like push whole sections aside and not bring them in. And like, I don't want to make the podcast, 3 hours long.
Right.
But I feel like there's still information that I could kind of pull in to bring more depth to the subject.
Yeah.
And that's something like when I, work during the day and then come home and then we have our night job. And then you're trying to do research in between there and laundry and dishes. And
it's hard to prioritize.
And it's, you just get a little, it's a little exhausting. And so, yeah, if we got the podcast to a level that it could monetize and help us, that would be wonderful. Or even if Patreon picked up more and we had more patrons, that would be wonderful. Because currently we love our patrons. We're just going to throw that out there. We adore you guys and we appreciate the support and encouragement that you give us. And the community that we have. We have just an awesome little community of people.
Yeah, such a great community.
They talk with each other and, support each other through life. Like if someone's having a rough time, they get, we kind of lift each other up and more members, and it is a wonderful community. We'd love to expand it and grow it. Then we could expand and grow what we do for that community.
Yeah.
So it's all a big cycle of things. And so, yeah, if you'd like to look into that, it's patreon.com/Jess and Hids.
Sorry, I was singing while you were.
I know I'm just like, what? Yeah. What are you singing? What
was I singing?
Yeah,
I was singing Lion King.
Oh,
except I changed the words to what you said. It's the cycle of things. It was so bad.
You sing well, but that was not great.
My voice did something so weird just now.
I mean,
I promise I can sing.
You can sing. You sing way better than I could ever possibly hope to, but that one was not.
It was not good. Oh man!
Far be it for me to judge, but
the cycle of things
a little bit
is what you said, and
the cycle of things. I got it. I heard it in my head there the second time eventually.
Oh my goodness!
But yeah. Anyway,
Patreon.com/Jess and Hids. Let's roll the dice.
Let's roll the dice. Okay. I'm scared. No, it's fine. It's gonna be great. Ooh,
oh man, I got a 17.
I'm gonna end up. I got an 18.
That means you go first. Finally, after how many? When was the last time you went first?
It's been a long time.
Squonk?
I don't
think
you
I
go
went
first
at
with
the
the squonk. Maybe I did. It's been a long time.
Or Cobbity. I don't know. Like, I don't know if the cards are in order.
Oh, no, they're not in order. They're just in episode order, not first and second order.
They should be.
Like, I remember that when I put those cards up
on
a week later.
The card graphics, the one who goes first is always on the top.
Oh.
I think maybe there was one episode where it wasn't.
Hey, cool. Well, I didn't know that. Never stop learning.
Do you even see the graphics that I make?
I do, because I post. I do the Facebook social media post.
I work and I slave over those, and you just don't even look at them.
I have to make the art. You just make them like fancy for digital media form.
Okay, so you're going first.
Oh, gosh.
I'm just
okay.
Sit back and get comfy. Wow, this is. Oh, I don't know how to act.
I know. I'm going to listen to you, and you're not going to say anything.
No.
You're going to stare at me.
Yep.
I'm going
to do the awkward silence thing that I do.
We're going to do the awkward silence thing, which is very annoying. You can't play that game during tea time, okay?
That was another thing that happened during tea time
because I could win that game, but not during tea time because other people are relying on us to communicate. And, we can't just stare at the screen.
I can win it anytime.
Oh, it's on. Excuse us while we just not say anything for the next 6 hours.
I could just pause this, though. I also have the power to do that.
No. Okay. All right. Let's. Okay.
Tell me.
I'm gonna say an opening thing, and then I'm gonna say another opening thing.
Okay. 2 opening things. Got it.
My opening quote is a quote from Major G.P.W. Meredith.
I don't know who that is.
He says, "It is more than astonishing. It is miraculous. If I had a division of men who could carry bullets like that, I would take on any army in the world.
I got nothing.
You got nothing. Okay.
Bullets like
This is a
that?
quote from 1932. And I'm gonna do a little preface here that my topic is going to have a little bit of, I'm going to try to be very nice about this, but there is some human versus animal in this, in which some animals do die. So I'm going to be talking about
the Emu War?
the Great Emu War of 1932.
I'm very excited about this.
I
'cause I don't know
squealed
much
so
about
hard when I got this card. I was like,
I think you did that. Yeah, you squealed.
I've heard of this off and on a couple times, and then I think I listened, like the first time I really got full information, I think was Box of Oddities podcast did an
I
episode
think that's
on
where
it.
I heard about it.
And I really wanted to listen to that episode again because they covered it very well. However, did not have the time to sit down and listen to it in a manner of where I could actually take it in. So I'm sorry, but I do, I suggest that podcast. It's a very good podcast.
It's a very good podcast.
They have like a billion
very similar
episodes.
to ours. They just talk about whatever interests them.
Yeah, it's great. I like them. So the Great Emu War. Is it emu or emu?
Emu.
Emu?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know it's emu because of the sound that they make is emu?
Emu in Hawaiian means good.
Oh,
right?
they are good birds.
So like
I mean, they're kind of mean, but
emu barbecue is just good barbecue. I could be totally wrong on that. Does it mean good?
I don't know. We were learning Hawaiian for a little bit, and I don't remember it.
IMU.
It's okay. I'll wait while you look that up.
It doesn't actually mean good. It's just a traditional Hawaiian underground oven used to cook large quantities of food.
Oh.
The word emu means pit.
Oh, okay. Well, you were wrong.
I was wrong.
That's two strikes on you
Does
today.
it mean pit?
Can't see. wrong word.
It's not.
Okay, sorry.
Not a great day for me, I guess.
No, it's fine. You're good. You're good. Okay, so let's talk about this. This happened in Australia in 1932. And it blows my mind. It's the time that one of the links I use is Forbes.com, and I love the title of their article, The Story Behind Australia's Great Emu War of 1932 and Why They Lost Twice.
Why the emus lost?
No, spoilers. The emus won.
I know. Okay.
So
twice?
Yeah, they actually, there were two offensives.
Wow.
Or operations.
Wow.
After World War I, the Australian government kind of incentivized wheat farming, and they had all these veterans coming home from the war. And so they said, since you need a place to live, you need jobs, they gave them these land grants, and they said, farm wheat for us because we need food, because we're, the 30s is also depression era. It's a worldwide depression.
Yeah.
So they're like, here is some land. Thank you for your service. Go farm wheat and we'll buy it from you. And so these farmers, or these veterans, go, okay. And they're like, we don't know how to farm, but we're going to do our best. We're going to try. Things were going great. And then the emus came.
Oh, no.
So
that sounds like the opening title of a book. Things were going great. Then the emus came.
I just do every those thing, say a statement and then add.
And then the Fire Nation attacked. Came. Yeah.
And then the dragons arrived.
Yeah.
Emus are baby dragons. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk a little bit about emus.
Okay.
Emus.
I've always just said emu.
I know. I've always said emu, and now I want to say emu, and it's bothering me. So I'm going to say it both ways, probably interchangeably throughout this entire thing. And
that's okay.
Have fun with that. So if you don't know, emus are large flightless birds. I've seen them a lot, like in different zoos, like they'll be with ostriches and stuff, but they are about half the size.
They don't have like the fluffy white feathers the ostriches
No,
do.
they're kind of a dark gray, silvery, they might have like that silvery kind of iridescence.
Emmanuel
is
the emu.
I love Emmanuel the emu. So, okay. They are large flightless birds. They are the second largest living bird after the ostrich.
Uh-huh.
And they are the largest bird in Australia.
They are dinosaurs.
They are dinosaurs. They 100% are.
Yeah.
You look at one and you're like, yeah, that's a dinosaur. They average about 5 to 6 feet or 1 to 2 meters. And the males can weigh about 110 to 120 pounds, which is 50 to 55 kilos. And the females can weigh about 11 pounds or 5 kilos more than the males. So the females are bigger.
Slightly bigger.
The chicks, when they're born, they're striped, black and brown and cream striped. They're really
so
cute. They're so cute. And that helps them kind of bless. That helps them blend into the grass and shrubbery where they're hatched.
That's cool.
They build these big nests that are they'll pile sticks around bigger sticks and then put their nests in the middle. So it kind of makes like a little pen almost. It's really, really kind of cute. I'll find a picture of one to put in our show notes. But so then they will lay like 15 to 20 eggs at a time. And basically the females hatch the eggs and then they're like, see ya. Mm-hmm. And the males do all the incubating and the protecting of the babies.
Oh.
And they will not eat, drink, or anything during the 56 days of incubation.
Wow.
These males will just sit on the nest and protect these eggs. They do have a large fat store in their body. So they will feed and feed and feed. And then when it's time to sit on these eggs, they kind of...
They stay alert during this time too?
Well, they may sleep off around, but they stay with the nest the entire time.
I was about to compare it to hibernation, but I mean only as far as food storage or nutrient whatever, but they are alert.
Yeah, they're alert. Yeah. I know when I used to have chickens, I had this one little game hen that was obsessively broody. And so, but chickens are like 20 to 21 days incubation.
Yeah.
But she would stay on the nest the entire time. She would not eat. She would not drink. She would not move. And I was like, she would get real pale and get really thin. And I was like, please, be okay. But she would hatch out those babies, and heaven forbid you attempted to look at them or anything, because she would lose her mind. She was very protective of her babies. But that's what the male emus do.
Aww.
But they do it for 56 days. That's crazy to me.
That's crazy.
Sometimes some females will stay and kind of help defend the nest, but in general, they move on and will often go find another guy and lay more eggs somewhere else.
Wow.
But the males are very aggressive, and if any other females are around the nest when it hatches, they chase them away.
Oh. And
they defend these chicks, which I think is adorable.
Yeah.
They're like, no, stay away from, they're my babies. I raised them. And they're just kind of like, rah. But the males will stay with the chicks for about 5 to 7 months. So they are really great dads.
Yeah.
And if other broods, other chicks get lost from their nest or something happens to the dad, they'll join other.
They'll adopt?
Yeah, they'll adopt and raise the little babies, which I think
cute.
is, as long as they're smaller than their own nest. If they're bigger, they will kind of chase them off.
Oh.
Which I was like, oh, okay. Emus are great dads. That's good.
That's
it's not something you normally see in the wildlife world. It's usually...
Well, I mean, there are a few species where the dads protect.
Yeah, penguins will
the young and the eggs.
Yeah,
yeah, that's always fun to see.
Yeah, it's. I did not know that thing. I was like, oh, that's cool. So a few more things about the emus. They are native only to Australia, where they are widespread. But we see them in zoos and that sort of thing. And I think
farms,
someone down the street has some.
Yeah,
just on the corner there.
Yeah, they're not out in the wild.
Yeah, they're not native to anywhere except Australia. They like the woodland shrublands and that area. They will be in the desert sometimes, but only after heavy rains where there's some herbs and grasses growing. One thing I found interesting was they're not really found where, if all the native vegetation has been cleared for agriculture, they aren't really found in those areas as much.
So they prefer
the native growth. Yeah. But if there's a lot of agriculture happening and kind of pushing them out of their area, they will go into the farmland, which is what happened in 1932.
Oh, they want the wheat.
They were very hungry. There was like, during the Depression, there was the Dust Bowl where it was like things were very dry, and there was a lot. That was kind of a worldwide thing that happened. We know it I've read and learned about the Depression in American history, but I didn't realize it was kind of worldwide at the time.
I think in the back of my mind I did know that, but I never really think of it in that context. I always think of the Great Depression in the U.S.
In the U.S., yeah.
That's where I live. And,
we're very U.S.-centric type thing. But and I knew after the war in England, things were tough but England was where the war was, England, so it was kind of they were recovering more. But
and
I didn't
also giving a lot of their resources.
So, so it was just kind of a worldwide depression, which I was like, oh, it makes sense, but just not what we were really taught. We were focused on the American aspect of it.
Yeah.
So the migration, because of this farming and this stripping of the native land and becoming this agricultural thing, and they put up these rabbit fencing, which was not a tall fence, but it had the kind of squares to keep the rabbits out at the bottom. This really disrupted the emu's natural migration forms, and about 20,000 emus migrated into this area for their annual breeding season. And this area that used to be native crops, native vegetation, native everything has now been turned to agriculture. And these emus are like, here we come. Uh-oh.
I can't even fathom 20,000.
20,000 7-foot-tall birds.
Oh, man.
That's kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
So obviously, the Depression is on. Prices are dropping anyway. These soldiers are still learning how to farm productively. And then these emus come in and they're tearing up fencing, destroying crops because, hey, we need food because we're migrating to get to our breeding grounds and all this stuff. They wreaked havoc. A grown emu can consume several kilograms or several pounds of food every day. And then here it is just spread out, in neat rows, ready to be eaten. So these emus were just kicking the fence and going to town. Buffet style, yeah. So the farmer said, hey, we need help. We can't. They're tearing down our fencing. They're destroying our crops. They're destroying our livelihood. And we're just trying to, make ends meet. And so they approached the government and were like, help. So the government says, well, okay, let's send Major Meredith. We'll give him some guns, some tanks, or some jeeps with guns and trucks and some soldiers. And they'll just go take out a bunch of these birds, get them down to a manageable level. It's going to be easy. It's going to be a week tops. Go for it. Not. That's not what happened at all. Not at all. In early November of 1932, Major Meredith and the 7th Heavy Battery of the Royal Australian Artillery arrived in Campion, which is about 200 miles from Perth, to face this invasion of 20,000 emus. They had Lewis light machine guns and 10,000 rounds of ammunition. This is going to be no contest. And it wasn't. The emus prevailed. With very few casualties.
Wow.
Which
how
blows my mind.
Yeah.
I'll tell you how. Emus have incredibly tough skin.
Oh.
And they have these thick feathers that kind of layer, and basically you had to hit them very close up, point blank range, repeatedly.
Wow.
To take one down.
Oh.
And one quote even says headshots were the only way.
Like zombies.
Like zombies, right. But if you look at an emu, their bodies are very big.
Yeah.
But their heads are, smaller than my head.
Yeah.
They're a very small target.
Yeah.
So you have these these soldiers in their jeeps and their trucks, and they have their machine guns, and they're just going after these emus. But here's the problem: this is farmed land, so you have ruts. It's also very broken land, so there's kind of dips and valleys and canyons and crevices and everything. It's not really conducive to driving at speed.
Yeah.
And trying, somebody's driving across this bumpy land and somebody's up on top trying to shoot something. And these emus have absolutely no issues running across this land.
Yeah.
This is where they live. They're where they're born and bred. They know this, and they can just run up to 35 miles an hour.
Oh, man.
So they are moving. And the crazy thing is, the emus themselves have these really great group dynamics. So if a cluster of them would come into an area, like into a wheat farm to feed, or at a watering hole or something to water, to drink water and everything, they would set up guards kind of on the perimeters.
That's
so
cool.
Like, even if these soldiers were trying to sneak up, there would be these sentry emus who would sound the alarm, and everybody would just scatter.
Wow.
Instead of moving like in a group, they would scatter in every direction.
Smart.
At 35 miles an hour, just boom. And these soldiers are, taking off and firing wildly. And these birds ran in zigzag patterns, which that's if someone's, that's the thing. If you're being fired at, zigzag, right? Don't run in a straight line. And one soldier is said that they seem to have their own military tactics. Like,
that's great.
They could
tactics.
dodge. They have evasion tactics. They have sentries. They would know, like, if an ambush was being set, if the soldiers were trying to set up ahead of time, the emus would just not go to that watering hole. They would change direction and go somewhere else. Like, I'm just like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
So after a week of skirmishes, the soldiers had fired over 2,500 rounds and had got maybe 5 or 6 birds.
Oh my gosh.
And they were like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's try again. So a month later that month, they tried again. And once again, so much ammunition used, so very few birds actually killed. They said that there were, like, some birds may have died later, like may have been winged or shot and just still, they were still running or whatever. But even though, like, they sent out people to look and search, they still, like, very few birds were actually killed, despite the an entire battalion of troops with machine guns, which you think, like, machine gun is like, massive casualty, but not with these birds.
Yeah.
Because
you can't aim with a machine gun.
You can't aim at a zigzagging target.
Yeah.
And even if you're doing kind of just
a blanket,
fire blanket everywhere, they're zigzagging, and the odds of it actually hitting. And then they have this tough skin and these layers of feathers that work like kind of a body armor type thing. So like, you'd have to get a really direct hit to even, hit something vital, which to me, it's just, I don't ever think of birds as, birds are fragile.
Yeah.
Like, you just like, oh, bird, very fragile, very light. And even like emus and ostriches are huge birds, but they still seem fragile.
Yeah.
In comparison to, like, I don't know, an elephant or something, you know? So they sent out again and went and tried to do another attack. But again, these birds knew they were coming, apparently. And by December, the government conceded defeat.
So this started when?
This started in November. By the end of December, they were like,
2 months, and they're like,
we're
nope.
done. We can't do it. The war ended. The emus survived unchallenged, and the farmers were still trying to figure it out. For a while, there was a bounty on emus. That the basically the government was like, look, if you can do it, we'll pay you.
Yeah.
we're not spending hundreds of thousands of military dollars out here chasing birds around. And the farmers were able to do a little more culling, for lack of a better word, but overall they didn't really make any difference in the emu population. In the end, they just built bigger fences. They built taller fences, which the birds then had to go around. And that was all it took. There still is.
Wow.
Oh, I didn't write down. Give me 1 second. There was one.
It's insane that they didn't just immediately be like, oh, let's just make the fences taller. Emus can't fly.
Yeah, they can't fly. And they were able to step over the other fences because they're 7 foot tall.
Yeah.
And they would just kind of step over them or trample them down. But yeah, they just made it taller. Bigger fence. Taller fence. Stop the birds.
Imagine that.
Save the wheat.
Yeah.
I don't have the exact thing, but I forgot which of my sources I didn't write it down, but it's there's about a 1,200 kilometer section of fencing that is still in use today to help protect this area of agriculture. It also protects against rabbits and dingoes getting in and harassing the livestock and everything in the area.
Oh, okay. And the babies.
And the and the babies. Let the dingo eat your baby. Okay. There were other times later in 1934, 43, and 48, the farmers once again asked for assistance because the emus were still being a problem. And this is when the barrier fencing became put more into use. The government was like, look, we're not sending the army out there again. We're going to have to come up with something different. And that's when they came in with the bounty. And that actually, putting the bounty on the emus to the farmers actually did help, lower the numbers of the emus that were coming in. But the fencing also just basically stopped them from coming into these farms and this agricultural land, which it just makes sense.
Yeah.
But there was some conservationist issue with that sort of thing. They were like, you can't massively destroy massive amounts of these animals because they belong here. And also the fencing would change migration routes and stuff. But there were some concessions made to where they could create these corridors for the birds to migrate through by using these fencings. And now the emu is a protected bird. It's actually kind of a heritage bird in Australia. It's kind of got their resilience has kind of earned them a place in Australian culture, which I think is kind of cool. They're featured on the country's coat of arms alongside kangaroos, and as of the time of this article, they were unofficially considered the national bird of Australia. So yeah, that was like I said, there's not a ton of information, but that was when the Australian Army went to war against the emu and lost twice.
I love that.
I love that. I think emus are very interesting birds. They're very prehistoric if you look at them. I have a couple pictures, and I also will link little Emmanuel.
Yeah.
I think it's Knuckle Bump Farms on Instagram.
Yeah.
She has this wonderful little emu who's always
choosing violence.
But yeah, they're cool birds. There's a little drive-through zoo in North Carolina we used to go through, and the guy was like, if they come towards you, while you're doing the little feeding the grains and stuff, you can put your hand over their head and they'll leave you alone. And so if you just kind of hold your hand up to where it's like in front of their forehead, they duck and run. And I just you could probably kill me with that beak, but you put your hand up and they just duck and run away from it. I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing. There's probably some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I just thought that was interesting. I've always remembered that. I'm like, okay, if I'm getting attacked by an emu, I put my hand up. It's like punch the shark or whatever. box the bear's ears,
Oh, man.
all those crazy, weird things like that you'll never do when an
Yeah.
animal's attacking you. So yeah, it was not a great time for the emus, but also like they
won.
They won. And I just liked that quote that the general or the major said, if I had a division of men who could carry bullets, I could take on any army in the world.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I mean, apparently these things are kind of bulletproof.
Yeah.
But so
Do you hear this cat?
I do hear
Yeah.
him kind of just attacking the door.
I'm not even sure which cat it is. Let's find out.
He wants to help the emus.
Yeah.
They don't need your help, buddy. It's Stray. Hi, baby girl. She's like, I want to be in here. Okay, now I want to go back out there.
Go out. It's a metal door, and she was just attacking
it.
Cake, no.
She's like, animals are going to rule the world, starting with the emus.
I'm Team Emu. Team you.
Team
Wait.
you. Oh, no. So, yeah, not a long section, but a pretty one I've always been kind of a little fascinated ever since hearing about it the first time. Like, what?
That's so cool.
So, yeah.
I love it.
The Great Emu War of 1932.
Yeah.
Okay. What have you got for me?
Cake, drinking water. That's what I have.
Gulp, 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 gulp.
She might actually need to go outside.
I want to go outside
Oh,
in the rain.
I want to go
outside.
outside. Well, I changed pitch there. All right. M&M snack break complete.
All right, what you got? I have a little kitten in my lap now.
Oh, there's a little Kiersey, a little chunk.
Kiersey cat. She's the little chunky kitten. I love her.
She's so cute.
Okay, tell me your subject. Tell me.
Okay.
Teach me something.
I'm going to teach you something.
Okay.
Have you ever seen outside of businesses or fancy homes lion statues?
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. Lion statues.
Yes.
Okay.
And you probably don't realize that this was on the topic list, but when I say what they are known as in Western culture as opposed to Chinese culture, you will recognize it.
Okay.
Foo dogs.
Oh. Okay.
So that was I brought that up.
I just have a
first.
totally new image.
Yeah.
I have the Chinese culture of the lion.
The lion.
But it's not. Yeah, okay. Okay.
But
okay.
So, okay. Foo dogs. The reason I brought it up like that first is because, no, they're not actually dogs. Like, I heard the word foo dogs,
Mm-hmm.
and, like, the traditional Chinese lion statues that you see outside of places,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they look like dogs. But anyway, that's like
they,
a whole...
they're to me, they're kind of like a stylized lion. But
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, they are misnamed. The foo dogs are actually the guardian lions of Chinese and other Asian cultures.
Oh, that's so... I had no idea.
Yeah. Often seen as sculptures placed outside of businesses or residences. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that everyone has seen them before.
Yeah, and they usually have like the paw up on an orb or just up. Kind of.
And I'm going to talk about that.
Oh, cool.
They're
my
usually
kitten, she
seen in
ran away.
pairs, one on each side of like a gate or a door or just a threshold from one place to another. The reference to guardian lions as dogs in Western cultures might be due to the Japanese reference to them as Korean dogs, due to their transmission from China through Korea into Japan.
Okay.
And it may also be due to the misidentification of the guardian lion figures as representing certain Chinese dog breeds.
Oh,
Because
okay.
they have sort of a chow chow quality to them.
Yeah. They have kind of that boxy
Yeah.
head, boxy muzzle look.
Yeah. So chow chows are called songshi kwan. I don't know how to pronounce any. Welcome to another episode of Jess Pronounces Things Wrong. Songshi Quan means puffy lion dog.
Puppy lion dog.
And
Aw.
the Pekingese dog. Is that how you say that?
I say Pekingese.
Pekingese, yeah. It is called Shizi Gao or Guo. There's a little above the O.
Okay.
It's Gou, and I don't know how to pronounce that. But that translates to lion dog.
Okay,
So there's a
I
little
do
bit of,
know that one too.
Yeah.
Like the Peking, I would love to do. I would love to do the topic of the Pekingese dogs and how they came into popularity in the Western world.
Yeah, that I would be interesting to find out. I mean, in a lot of dog breeds.
I did listen to a podcast that talked about that, and when they were air quote discovered by the Western world.
Uh-huh.
And it's not great how it happened, but they were kind of saved from extinction. But
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah.
say saved because if it just been left alone, they wouldn't have been risked it being.
She's got a little piece of plastic and she's trying to get away with it.
You are such a funny little
But she's going to
kitten.
knock this out
Come
on
here.
my computer. So
Okay.
there
Come
you
here, little
go.
kitten.
She's like, give me
Okay.
my plastic back.
Just so silly.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I think that could be a whole other topic.
Yeah,
Is-
it's fascinating a little bit of history, but okay. Go back to your
So
lion
the
dogs.
reason I put foo dogs in our deck of cards is because I was hoping there would be more of a mythological
okay, like
sort of
kind of
spin
cryptid
on it. Yeah.
mythological
Mythology.
beast. Okay.
But I couldn't find hardly anything about that.
Okay.
And the one website that I did find, warriorsofmyth.fandom.com, it's a wiki.
Okay.
And it's just occurring to me now that Warriors of Myth might be like a video game or something that
Okay.
has these in it. I don't know. Warriors of Myth, it's a wiki site, and they actually have a
book.
disclaimer that says, while it is the intention of the foremost members of this website to keep pages as mythologically accurate as possible, this site should not be taken fully as mythical, legendary, or folkloric canon, let alone as a resource for any paper, report, or journal. Cite pages at your own peril.
I love that they're very upfront about that.
Yeah, and
They're
it's
like,
just
hey,
like-
this is
Right there at the beginning of each entry, they say that. So there you go. According to this website, the foo dogs or guardian lions have a neutral good, chaotic neutral, or chaotic good alignment.
okay.
They're associated with the elements of earth, metal, and sand. So very, very earthy.
Okay.
Their abilities are strength, great strength, intelligence. They have a magical bark that frightens their enemies and drives them away. This bark can also wake people out of trances and warn them of danger. Male foo dogs can also keep evil spirits away with their fearsome, snarling look.
Okay. Aw.
And the website also states that the first foo dog was supposedly made by a god who created it from a boy's stone dog toy. And I actually couldn't find anything else about that myth anywhere online.
Okay, so just in this
So,
one place.
Just in that one website. And it
This,
actually...
this one place that says we are not canon.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So there you go. And just the fact that it says it was made from a child's dog toy, but these things originated as lions and they just kind of shifted because whatever.
Like maybe like a cultural or linguistic
Yeah.
kind of shift.
Yeah.
Like a mistranslation type thing, maybe?
Yeah. So
Okay.
it kind of makes me think that legend that a god created it from a child's dog toy, not true.
Not true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or not even mythologically accurate, is what I'll say. So the actual history of why these lion statues are a thing, that's all the mythological stuff I have for you.
Okay.
So we can get
Okay,
into
so we're
the
going to actual
now.
history. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. This is just as fascinating to me.
I
so-
know, and I learned a lot. So there are various styles of guardian lions that sort of reflect influences from different time periods and imperial dynasties and regions of China.
Okay.
So these styles vary in their artistic detail and adornment, as well as the depiction of the lions from fierce to serene. Like there's a whole wide range of them. The history of Chinese lions dates back to just thousands of years ago, with the earliest record of lions coming from the Han Dynasty, which is 221 BCE to 200 CE, which stands for Common Era, which is the alternative to AD.
Okay.
I had to look that up because I knew it, but I couldn't remember what it stood for. Common Era.
Okay. And it's kind of the before Christ, after Christ?
Yeah.
Like that timeline, so up to
Or
0 year. And then...
Anno Domino.
Okay. Okay. I always get my number, 500. Oh, wait, no, 500 BCE or 500 AD are completely different timelines. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I know that the Chinese culture is beyond ancient.
For sure. Yeah. So geographically, lions are not native to China. Historians believe that lions came into Chinese knowledge through trade along the Silk Route.
Okay.
And the Han imperial records indicate that the lions were brought to the Han court by emissaries from Central Asia and Persia. And the word shi it means lion in Chinese. The word itself is believed to be derived from the Persian word for lion, which is ser, ser, or maybe sher. I don't know how to pronounce it. I should have looked all these up. I did not.
I wonder if it's like Sher, no, that was a tiger, Sher Khan.
Yeah.
So, okay. Sorry. I went off down a little tangent in my brain there.
Other records from this era, from the Han Dynasty era, written by royal court minstrels, also express the majestic qualities of the lion and how they captivated Han's emperors. As a result, the Han royalty adopted the lion as a protection iconography, and they would adorn they would adorn their tombs and shrines with stone and earthen sculptures of the lions.
Okay.
And the lions are traditionally carved from decorative stone, like marble or granite, or cast in bronze or iron. But because of the high cost of these materials back then and the labor required to produce them, the private use of guardian lions was traditionally reserved for the wealthy and elite families, and like temples and things like that. The traditional symbol of a family's wealth or social status was the placement of guardian lions in front of their homes.
Oh, okay.
So it was seen as a status symbol.
We have money because we have a really cool
lions.
Statue of a lion out here. Okay, that's cool.
In modern times, they're mass produced.
Yeah,
it's in concrete and resin. You just kind of see them all over the place. So no longer restricted to the elite, even in Chinese culture. The lions are often presented in pairs, and I'm gonna say this bit, but I'm gonna come back to it later because originally they weren't presented in pairs. It was just a cool thing, a lion.
We have a lion, and it's very expensive, so we just built one.
Yeah.
Okay.
But nowadays, you do see them often presented in pairs and thought to represent yin and yang, the female representing yin and the male representing yang. So you have two pairs of lions, a male and a female. The male has his right front paw on a type of cloth ball, simply called an embroidered ball. It's sometimes carved into a geometric pattern, and the female is identical to the male, but she has her left paw up, and a little lion cub is under it.
Oh.
And that represents the sort of the ball under the male's right paw represents kind of the world, guardian and protector of the world. Mm-hmm. The female with her cub is sort of representing the guardian of people. And yeah.
Okay, so if you're driving and you see these houses that have two lions with their feet both on a ball, they're two male lions.
Yeah. They're two male lions.
Okay.
And, yeah, which that's very common now.
Yeah, it is. Because you want that symmetry. You're not really looking at what the actual meaning of this statue is. Yeah. Okay. Interesting little take there.
Yeah. Symbolically, the female lion protects. So if you see these things outside of a business or a home or something, The female lion symbolically is the protector of those dwelling inside, or
Okay.
like the living soul within, while the male guards the structure,
Okay.
the external materials and the elements.
Okay.
Sometimes the female has her mouth closed and the male has his mouth open, and that symbolizes the enunciation of the sacred word Om. So you're getting some references or some influences from India there.
Okay.
And there are Japanese adaptations state that the male is inhaling, representing life, while the female is exhaling, representing death. And other styles have both lions with a large pearl in each of their mouths are partially open and they have a large pearl inside of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the pearl is carved so that it can roll around in the mouth, but it can't ever be removed from the mouth. Like it's too big to actually come out of it.
There's a video of a cat playing
Yes.
with one of those
Yes.
where they're just like, blip, blip, blip,
It's
blip, just keep
adorable.
playing with the,
Yeah.
yes. Okay.
So yeah, that is more of a Japanese representation of the lions.
Okay. That's interesting. I love how this symbology is kind of across multiple cultures, but
Yeah.
still is the same thing, but kind of pulled into that culture's
To that
interpretation
culture's belief.
of
Yeah, and
belief
it's-
system. Yeah.
It's really cool. It seems like they're represented in pretty much all Asian cultures. They have depictions of these lions, but yeah, the representation, what they represent are different depending on the culture. It's really cool.
That's very cool.
So later, okay, so like I said before, in the Han Dynasty, the statues are usually identical, usually genderless. Actually, they didn't actually assign a gender to these lions. They were just here's a lion.
Okay.
And during the Tang Dynasty, which is 618 to 907 CE, Buddhism became officially adopted as the imperial religion. It led to a ton of Buddhist temples being erected all across China, and they especially had cave temples along the Silk Route in the western region of China, and the cave temples were often adorned with these carvings of lions at their entrances. And the imagery of these
So
lions...
cave temple, you mean like just basically you would just have the facade, but the temple itself would be in a literal cave?
I think so.
Okay, that's
I should
cool.
have researched that, but it says cave temples, and that's sort of what I think.
I mean, that's like I know that my geography, but I know portions of the Silk Route were through mountainous regions.
Yeah.
So that makes sense
Yeah.
that you would just have this outer facade
Mhm.
with these lion statues guarding it, and then the main part of the temple is inside
Yeah.
the mountain. Okay.
Yeah. I think that is what it is referring to. I'm sorry I didn't research that.
No, that's fine. Do it. That'll be
my
another
mind was like,
topic.
cave temples, cool.
Cool.
Temples and caves.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Makes sense.
Didn't even question it. So the imagery of the lions during the Tang Dynasty is a lot different, and it actually has roots in the origin of the Buddhist faith. Lions were often associated with the imperial court of India, and Shakyamuni, being the prince of the Shakya tribe in India, was said to be the lion of the Shakya tribe.
Okay.
That was sort of his nickname. And the title remained with him as he abandoned his title and entered Buddhahood. So
Okay.
this is Buddha.
Oh, okay.
And as a result, the religious images depict Shakyamuni sitting on top of a lion's throne, riding a lion, or having a lion a pet lion sitting nearby. The lion is also depicted like kind of guarding Buddha as he meditates. The depictions humanized the lion, and in the instances where the lion is the pet of the Buddha,
Mhm.
he's also depicted with an embroidered necklace, suggesting that it's no longer a wild beast, but a civilized and domesticated being.
Okay.
So the imagery shifted from this ferocious lion to a sort of domesticated guardian
Okay.
of the Buddha. In Buddhism, the voice of the lion is also an important symbolic element. Folk tales talk about the lion, and this is not even central to China or Asian cultures, but all around the world, the lion is known as like the king of beasts, having dominion over all other animals. The lion has a commanding stature and presence. The lion's roar is enough to cause all other creatures to tremble in fear or flee. And so, sort of derived from that, the Buddhist faith asserts that to speak with the lion's roar is to speak with an unshakable confidence, the type of confidence that can only come from unwavering faith and trust in one's heart, regardless of outside influence. So when you're speaking with the lion's voice, it's because you have that conviction. So the lion's roar symbolizes wisdom and fearlessness and a sort of divine pride among Dharma practitioners.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I love that kind of, that symbology of that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you do always hear, the lion, like, isn't it like you can hear a lion's roar, like, several miles away?
I think so, yeah. I think that's sort of what gained it the reputation of, being this fierce king of beasts.
That's fascinating.
The lion's roar, yeah.
And to kind of pull that into the belief and the belief system of using that. I mean, if you're in a place and you're out hunting, as an animal and you roar, you're like, hey, I'm out here.
Yeah.
And you're pretty confident in yourself. Most things are kind of slinking around trying not to be noticed. And this lion. So yeah, if you have that conviction and then yeah, you could definitely like kind of, like, I am secure in my beliefs. That's very cool symbology.
I love it. Yeah. So moving on from Buddhism, talking about the yin and yang symbolism, that came about in the Song dynasty, which is the 11th and 12th century. The culture, economy, and society of China saw a large boom. The population doubled, economic development advanced, artistic development popped off. It was also during that period where the popularity of Buddhism declined a bit, and a sort of new philosophical school of thought came about. It was the Confucianism.
Okay.
Yeah. And Taoism sort of became more popular. So the ideals of balance and order became important aspects for the Song courts and society. Belief in harmony of duality, expressed through yin and yang, is a core principle. The perspective of the world shifted from the transient realm of Buddhism to a balanced and orderly sort of binary domain of Neo-Confucianism. I don't know why that word trips me up. It's Confucianism. The philosophy can be seen reflected in the artistic representation of these lions too.
Okay.
So this is where we get the male and female. So previously, in the previous dynasties and sort of regions of China, the lions were perceived to be genderless or exclusively male. But now they have split to become two equal but opposing forces. So you have the embodiment of balance and orderly society represented in these lions. And it's where we do start seeing those differences with the male lion with the paw on the ball and the female with her paw on the cub, and all of the differences that those represent. I also have a little side note here that the reason that the male and female lions look the same and are only differentiated by the accessories with them is because, a possible explanation for this is because the only visual reference that Chinese artists have of male lions that were presented to the imperial court as gifts.
Yeah, because you have it's much more dramatic to bring this big maned lion.
Yeah, so both male and female lion statues have these big manes. It's because lions are not native to China.
Right. Okay. That I would have never actually considered that. Like, why?
Yeah.
That this is what they must all look like this.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
These are lions. So, yeah. So that's the artists didn't have a reference. They were not aware of the biological differences between male and female lions.
That's so fascinating.
Yeah. So moving forward in the Ming and is it Qing, Qing. I think it's pronounced with a sh.
I think it is Xing.
Yeah, the Ming and Qing dynasties. I apologize.
Yes. Please excuse our stupidity.
Yep. The Ming dynasty saw a return of the imperial court from the Mongol rule of the Yuan dynasty. And as a result, the Ming adopted a much more strict and isolationist policy.
Okay.
Trade along the Silk Road dwindled, and political and civil unrest in Europe and Central Asia sort of was impacting the artistic world as well. The Ming Dynasty, the court also moved its capital to Beijing and constructed the Forbidden City. They adorned their new capital with numerous lion statues, and I actually had a number that I did not write down about how many lion statues can be found in the Forbidden City, and I apologize that I didn't.
Well, I'm furious with you right now.
Google it.
I'm
just kidding. So because of the changes happening during this dynasty, the civil unrest, and as well as the shrinking Asiatic lion population, the artists in China sort of lost their primary source of reference. They had to rely on the visual depictions and oral interpretations of the lions from previous generations. So because of this, they sort of exaggerated the majestic qualities of the lions.
Okay.
And lions sort of joined the ranks of dragons and phoenixes as far as like the mythological status. Okay. So we're creeping back into the mythology of it here, but still rooted in history. So their imagery became much more mythical and more chimera-like. In the Qing dynasty, they started taking on a little bit more of the dog-like qualities.
Okay.
They became a bit more docile, a little less regal, much more mythical with the addition of scaled feet in some interpretations.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The tongues were previously curled, but in the Qing dynasty, they kind of morphed to being a little bit more like protruded and a little placid, like a panting dog would hang its tongue out.
Instead of that, like just the...
Yeah, it's not like a fierce roar. It's now a happy dog who's panting.
Okay.
The ears also changed to be long and floppy and curling downward. So much more dog-like.
So much more dog-like, yeah.
And historians have suggested that this depiction of the foo dog ears, along with their placement in front of gardens and women courts, imply the foo dogs have turned its ears toward earth, away from political and toward the domestic sphere. So it also came with that sort of symbology too. It also morphed a little bit. So it's
fascinating.
Less political and more domestic now.
Okay.
Which brings us to the Chinese lions of today. Because of merchant ships, missionaries, and explorers of the 16th century, foo dogs were introduced to the West. And the art and the culture of the East became much more accessible to people in the West. The image and the qualities of the guardian lions had evolved and become so different from the actual earthly lions that inspired them that the creatures were completely unrecognizable to people in the West. So probably why they're called foo dogs.
Okay. And it's foo, F-U, right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's...
Or is it?
There are a couple different spellings. F-O-O, F-U.
F-U too.
I didn't write all of them down, but there's a few.
I've seen it, the F-U dogs, foo dogs that way. So that's why okay. So it is, there are multiple spellings. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. To Western cultures, the creatures were exotic, mythological beasts of the Orient. And
that's so fascinating.
Much more dog-like than the lion. They called them shishi, foo dogs, or dogs of Buddha. And you now see them as popular feng shui elements in the home.
Yeah.
And in feng shui, it actually, like, placement matters. The male lion is usually, like, if you're standing outside of a home looking at it, the male lion's going to be on your right, female on the left.
Okay.
And I don't have this in my notes, but I read that if you do have two male lions, you have to have it so their raised paws, their right paws are... Shoot, what did I read? I should have written it down.
Oh, no. I want to know because I'm going to put lions outside our door.
I know,
don't
but
know.
It has to be symmetrical. They can't have...
So both right paws can't be...
Right,
So it
yeah.
has to be
one
one
of them
right
has
and
to
one...
be right and one of them has to be left.
Okay.
So, yeah, and I forget if it's the inside paw or the outside paw.
Okay,
in
that makes
relation
me
to the
happy
doorway.
because seeing two things, like one on either side of a doorway and they're both the same
Yeah.
doesn't balance. Like in my eye, I look at that and I go, something's wrong. Even if I can't pick it out right away, and it'll come down to, oh, it's both right paws are up.
Yeah.
Where it should be like
A right
for that,
and a left.
a right and a left to have that.
Yeah, the two
symmetry.
outside paws
Yeah.
or the two inside paws, it's got to be symmetrical.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
So even though they look massively different, still in today's culture, they do symbolize a lot of the same things they symbolized in the early dynasties. The protectors of homes, protectors of businesses, balance, things like that. Guardians of a threshold and embodying the importance of liminality.
Liminality?
Liminality.
What is liminality?
Let me look it up. So they're traditionally placed on thresholds,
Mm-hmm.
and liminality is the quality of being in between two places or stages on the verge of transitioning to something new. So
Okay.
another part of symbology that I didn't talk about, and I thought I put it in my notes, maybe I accidentally skipped it, but they were thought to be guardians between the physical and spiritual realms as well.
Okay.
So I think when I mentioned the temples, I think that's where it should have gone in my notes, but I must have forgotten to include that in, and I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. No, that's fine. But that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
The liminal space.
Yes.
Like that's,
Well,
it took me a minute to
there we
like,
go.
got it. Okay.
Yeah, but that's all I have.
On the food dog.
About
That
food
is
dogs.
very cool because I do remember seeing that on the list of topics and thinking this is a cryptid. This is like an ancient
Yeah.
Asian cryptid.
And that's what I was thinking too. Like I think I originally learned the term food dog, but didn't actually equate it to the lion statues
Right.
from the Dresden Files books,
Oh, that's funny.
because he has a dog that is a food dog.
Oh, that's
so I was
funny.
like, they're dogs, right?
Yeah, they're dogs.
So I was
Okay.
like, this will be a fun little mythological creature to talk about, but it's not.
It's not. Well, I mean, this is why I love this podcast
Uh-huh.
because
We learn.
like we ADHD brain kicks in and we rabbit hole down some weird random thing at some point and we're like, oh no, I have too many things I'm looking at now. I need to get back to my main purpose of research.
Uh-huh.
So we write it down and come back to it, when we have more time to kind of focus.
Uh-huh.
Or we I'm sorry, I just look over and the cat is about to get herself in trouble, but she's like going under a blanket.
Jennifer.
Are you tangled up in there, little girl?
Little Shen. I need help. Hi.
Ta-da!
How you doing?
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, it was
But
funny.
like, anyway, so coming back, we write down these topics that we can come back to, and even if we don't remember exactly why we put them on the list at the time of putting them on there, we come back to them. It's a whole new moment of learning.
Yeah.
And
So I thought I was going to talk about a little bit of mythology or folklore today, but I ended up talking about the history of these statues and the symbolism, and I love that.
I love it too because I had no idea.
Yeah.
Like when you said, you see the statues outside of the restaurants and such. Immediately, I knew exactly the imagery.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Okay, now this is a representation of a cryptid or a mythology. No, it's just a lion.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah.
And
'cause you
thinking
see
about
those-
like,
Yeah.
they never really saw lions.
Yeah.
Or
Lions aren't
they
native.
only saw the male lions, so they only had this one version
Yeah.
of what they look like. That's so fascinating.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and
That's
like
so cool.
some of the depiction, like some of the statues do look very chimera-like, just a conglomeration of different animals. Some of them are depicted with like a unicorn horn,
Yeah,
and like
or
I
they
said,
have like
this,
the whip kind of the wyvern looking
the
tail with the little spike on the end, like
yeah,
scorpion like tail or
yeah,
whatever.
scales on the
On the claws, yeah.
yeah. But nope, they're lions.
Just lions. That's fascinating.
Yeah,
Cool, thank you. I love learning that.
yeah. I had fun researching.
Yeah. I know you were talking about like, oh, this is like a lot of different than what you were expecting.
It was a brain shift for me. And like oddly enough, I got the majority of this information from a furniture site.
You said that, and I
Yeah.
was like trying to think of things. I was like,
China
was
furniture.
it from this? Was it that?
ChinaFurnitureOnline.com. So, yep.
That's fascinating. I think it's so random where you find information.
Yeah.
It is weird. Like you think you're gonna only look in one place for information,
Yeah.
and then you find all these different websites, and you'll follow these links, and then you're like, wait, what website
Yeah,
am I
what am I
on? And you're
on?
like, I'm on a furniture website. Okay.
Oh, they're trying to get me to buy something.
They're trying to get me to, but they've done some research for you,
Yeah,
and you're like,
I-
okay.
I'm definitely linking this article. They have some really good information, and I just kind of truncated it. I also had a little bit from Wikipedia, but not a whole lot. It was mostly just this furniture site, and then the Warriors of Myth wiki.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's okay. Foo dogs from the furniture website. I love that.
they do not call them foo dogs at all in China. They
that
are guardian lions.
that makes absolutely perfect sense.
Yep.
That is a
That's
westernized
just a Western thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I guess it's time to decide what we're going to talk about next week.
Yeah.
All right. I think I went first last time. So
Okay.
you go first.
Okay.
I'm like pushing
Spread
them
them
all around. We have them spread out. They're huge cards, and there's a bunch of them, so I have to spread them out.
This one. Oh, okay. I was confused for a second.
What is it? Tell me. Tell me.
No. It's- No, I'm not going to tell
Okay.
you.
Oh, I have to draw now.
You're like
Sorry.
looking at me
I'm like-
expectantly, and I'm like, what do you want me to say?
I know, like every time I'm like, oh, cool, she drew. Tell me what it is.
No.
And yeah, okay. All right, here we go.
It's going to be fun.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm excited for this one.
Sweet.
Sweet.
Okay.
Okay. This is awesome. Okay. Okay, I'm excited.
Me
This
too.
is going to be great. My initial thought is that there might not be enough information for
Oh.
this topic, but I'm going to dig for it and see what I
Good.
could find out. So,
Sweet.
Sweet.
Okay.
we'll be back
Bow,
next
bow,
week.
bow.
So, in closing, please share our podcast. Tell your friends about us.
Yeah.
Tell them to tell their friends, and let's kind of spread the word for us. We'd appreciate it
please.
if you have a place on wherever you listen to podcasts that you can leave a review or a rating. We would appreciate that.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome. We hope you leave us a good review. If you would like to reach out and talk to us about something, either give us a topic that you'd like to hear us discuss or information about something that maybe we missed in a past topic, you can email us at jessandhids@gmail.com.
I just remembered
What?
in the last episode, I said we did not use constables in the U.S.
Oh, yes,
We do.
we do.
And let me.
If you have a correction for us that we
I have a correction.
did not
yes.
notice, we would love to be made correct.
Yeah.
What is it? Okay, so
that's
we
what-
do have constables in the U.S.
We do. And I know Texas is one of them, one of the states that uses constables. Texas, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Kentucky use constable as an additional police force like a sheriff. So like the,
Oh,
yeah,
that's so cool. I didn't know that.
yeah.
Okay, I learned a little bit.
Yeah. So, yep, correction from last episode. We do have constables
In the United
as
States.
a rank.
Okay,
Or
that's-
I almost said auxiliary, but it's a office similar to sheriff.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. Thank you, whoever gave us that correction. I
That was
appreciate-
Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you so much. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have a warm ember for me? Because I'm cold because we have no heat.
JessandHids.com
JessandHids.com.
is where to go to get all the links to all the things. Okay. Now we could do the war members.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I interrupted your spiel.
You interrupted my spiel, and then I completely
Yeah.
derailed off of that. So,
But yeah, let's see. War member. A war member. A war member. Oh boy.
I think my warm ember, oddly enough, is going to be the little bit of snow that we got because I do like snow.
It was
If-
very pretty.
It's very pretty, and it is moisture that we desperately need.
Yeah.
So I think it was nice, even though it's March and we're finally just getting snow. I do appreciate that, and I think it made me happy to see that.
Yeah.
That's going to be
Yeah.
my cold warm ember
Yeah.
for the day.
A little cold war member. My war member will be my parents for allowing us to use their showers and their
Yes.
hot water.
Yes, thank you.
It's great.
We appreciate that.
They live
so
just down the
much.
street, so yay.
Yay! All right. Well, let's wrap it up, and we'll see you all, or talk to you guys next week with our next subjects.
Yay. I'm excited.
I'm excited.
I'm
too.
freaking intimidated, but I'm excited.
Oh, that makes me more excited to hear yours.
Oh gosh.
All right. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. Goodbye.
Share war members with us if you have them.
Yeah.
You know where to find us.
Yay.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye.